Good evening, race fans, and welcome back into another Inside edition of the Voice of Victory Lane podcast with Kip Thompson. Hope everyone's having a great week. Man, we had a great show last night with the Blackwells. We had Zach and Chase Blackwell. It was a great show to bring in that family atmosphere into the racing scene. It was a great night inside the Fayetteville Motor Speedway. And if you missed last night's show, go to our YouTube page, go to our Facebook page, and be sure to watch that show. It was just a phenomenal show, heartfelt, with a lot of family atmosphere brought into it. And I think that you will enjoy it. Before we get started tonight, we always want to thank our show sponsors, Raging Rooster Catering out of Fayetteville, North Carolina. Tony and Bobby Jackson, proud supporters of our show, and we're so excited to have them part of what we're doing. They do an awesome catering business. They have bumped up due to economic times. 30 people or more, they will come to your place and set up and put on a really good meal for you and cater. They have a very wide menu options. You name it, they can do it. Look them up on Facebook, Raging Rooster Catering. You can see their email address and their telephone number and give those guys a call today. We also always love to plug the Raging Roosters all-purpose seasoning. Very, very good stuff. Our show guest tonight is a recipient of a free bottle of that, and he has used it and he has enjoyed it. And so we're going to jump right on up into the show, and we're super excited to have our good friend Joey Chapman back on the show with us. We missed him last week because of some work things, and schedules sometimes don't go together like we want them to. But anyway, we've got Joey Chapman back on the show with us tonight. Joey, welcome back, man. Good to see you.
Hey, man, I appreciate it. And as always a pleasure to be on the show. Appreciate everything you do.
Oh, man. Well, you guys sound like you had a great show at Sumter this weekend, 18 entries. I was watching on Race Monitor, and I saw Zach Mitchell capture the win. Not only did he capture the win, he was the Buffalo Bar and Grill out of Greenwood, South Carolina Fast Time Award winner. And they're finishing in second place. The guy who's edging up a little closer every week to claiming that points championship, old Dennis Rambo Franklin. Sounded like a great show, Joey.
Yes, sir. It was a good show. Zach, he was the class champion in 2017. So he's a defending champion of ours, and he runs with us periodically now. And he had a great night. He came down, set fast time, got to jump over Dale Timms on the start of the race. Dale Timms had a great night, qualified second. Him and Rambo raced really, really hard for second place. Rambo ended up getting second. And Rambo is really close to clinching that fourth championship. Things are going to have to go really, really bad for him, for Adam to beat him. Unfortunately, somebody has to lose. But Rambo's really, really close to finishing this thing out.
Well, a points champion is not necessarily that one guy who wins every week. It's consistency throughout the year. And I can just go ahead and tell you, I've been following your series, proud to be a part of doing shows with you guys. But watching during the race and what I could see on my phone, not only did he have a great weekend this weekend and claiming that second place position, man, he had a great run at Fayetteville when you guys were here. I mean, he was up there at the front battling, and he's really had a phenomenal year that I've been able to witness myself. Man, congratulations goes out to him, and best of luck to him and all the drivers who are real close there for the remaining part of your season.
Yeah, Rambo had a rough middle part of the year, and Adam Yarborough had a great middle part of the year, so that kind of kept the points battle tight. But Rambo kind of got his program turned around and has found a little speed, a little more consistency. The speed's the big thing. He's found the speed. That's what he was missing in the middle part of the season. Sometimes you just get off a little bit, but he continued to work really, really hard and found what he needed and has been a really consistent, top three guy here the last few months. So, that makes it really easy to win some point championships because, like you said, it takes all of it. You got to take your worst nights and do the best you can to accumulate all those points over the course of a year. And that's what him and Adam have been doing.
Well, there again, that's what makes a series champion, a track champion. It's, showing up, it's racing through the good, through the bad. And just good to see, because if he does go on and win the point series for you guys, this isn't a first-time series championship for Rambo.
Now, it'll be number 4 for Rambo. He was a champion in 2010. He backed it up in 2011. He got beat the next year. And then in 2013, he came back and was a champion again. He's had a little bit of a dry spell, but there were a few years that he didn't concentrate and really run for any points championships. He kind of picked and chose, but he decided this year to try it again full time, and it's working out pretty good for him.
Well, that is absolutely great. Well, this past weekend, we were at the Fayetteville Motor Speedway. We had the I-95 Late Model Challenge, and we had a really good show. And had we not had that show, I would have been with you guys. I'd have gone down to Sumter. Sumter Motor Speedway is a unique place, but a real cool place and a very, very racy track as well. If I had the chance to go to see the Supers there, especially being the Carolina Clash, me being a big fan of that series, I would have been there with you, man. But it is a real neat place, wouldn't you say?
It is. It's unique. That's what we'll call it. And when you go down there, it reminds me of some old school racing because there's some local guys down there that are very, very tough to beat. And years ago, I remember going to a Have Tampa race, and local guy there, and it's part of the reason we were down there this weekend. Ed Gibbons Memorial. It's the Gibbons Memorial that we have down there every year. At a Have Tampa race, Ed just annihilated the field. Steve Francis and Rick Eckert, all those guys were there, and it's that way now. When you go down there, you've got Banjo Duke and Justin Mintz. You've got to outrun. And, Justin ended up with a 5th place run down there this weekend. Those local guys are really, really hard to beat. And you can tell some of the outsiders are getting a little better grip on the racetrack and figuring out how to be really fast down there. And, so it was just a great all-around night. We had no major incidents. It was a smooth night. Racing got over early. Everybody got to go home at a decent hour. And so it was a really good night to honor the Gibbons family. Gib was in a car. He raced. He had some rough luck. I think he had some fuel pressure problems and issues he never could really get straightened out. And, Ed Gibbons and Slick Gibbons are obviously famous, not just in that area, but being from Manning, South Carolina. They grew up racing there and have a long, long history at that racetrack, and throughout the Southeast. Ed was a really, really tough competitor. And he was one of those guys that, not that I hated to race against him, but he was one of those guys that you kind of did because you knew he was going to be on his A game, and you had to be. And, so it was an honor for us to get to go down there the last couple of years and honor the Gibbons family and do that race. We'll continue to do it again next year. Thanks to that family, the Duke family that owns the racetrack. We're going to continue to do that and honor the Gibbs family.
Well, I'll have to tell you, Joey, you're always really good for whenever we're doing a promotional show, anything talking about like Wayne Gray Sr. or Carlton Lamb, Big C. You can always scroll back. You have a very good ability to roll back in that memory bank and talk about a story. Well, I'm going to give you a story real quick about Ed Gibbons. We were involved, obviously, down at Benson Ford when Carlton Lamb came to Benson, North Carolina, and I started working there with him through part of my college. And at that time in my life, I was real big into playing softball, travel softball. We played all over the country. Well, on a Friday afternoon, I'm in the service department there at the old dealership right down the road from the race shop, and I'm walking through the service department. And Kemp walks through the back door and says, "Hey, what are you still doing here?" I said, "Man, it's 4:00. We don't close until 6." And he replies to me and says, "Well, I just figured you'd be gone traveling, playing softball, going somewhere out of town this week." I said, "No, man, we're off." And he said, "Well, what are you doing tonight? Or what are you doing this weekend?" I said, "Man, really nothing, man. Just going to sit back, relax." He said, "Hop in the truck." He said, "I've been wanting to take you to a dirt race. Let's go." Well, we went to Lakeview. And long story short, my love for racing started that night. And once we pulled down in the pits, we're rushing, trying to get down there. And, I just get out of the truck and you guys are doing whatever, getting everything ready. And as soon as the back door, that dually closed, I heard a race car open up down the straightaway. And when I turned and looked, it was a CarQuest, that number 707. And when I saw the very first car I ever saw on a dirt track, it was a hot lap, and it was Ed Gibbons. Right rear goes down, left front goes up, And at that moment, man, I was hooked. And I him around the racetrack. It's just a cool deal for you guys to have that opportunity to honor a guy like his family, because I know what you mean when you say I didn't hate him, hated to race against him, because you better know if he was there, you had to definitely bring your A game, like you said.
Yes, sir. You sure did. Had a lot of good races with Ed, and his dad through the CarQuest company sponsored the Rookie of the Year program for the Carolina Clash for quite a few years. So he gave back to the racing community also. And you find that throughout the industry, people who are racers and have raced and spend a lot of money and time and effort racing, but they give back to help other racers. And Slick did that. Like I said, he paid for our Rookie of the Year sponsorship for quite a few years, and we'll always appreciate that. Always showed up at the banquets. We're always nice, and Ed had that look of being a nice guy, and he was, and Slick too. They were nice gentlemen, but now they were fierce competitors. We've talked about that with Carlton Lamb. Nice guys, give you the shirt off the back, but now when it come time to get on with it, they were serious and they were fierce competitors. And that's one of the things that I did admire about them, So a lot of great memories at Lakeview and Fayetteville and Sumter and Cherokee, racing against Ed.
Yeah, well, it sounds like it was a great show. It was a great time to honor a great family, as you guys did. Congratulations goes out to the driver number 57, Zach Mitchell, capturing the win this past weekend in the Carolina Clash Super Late Model Dirt Series at the Sumter Motor Speedway. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about some very exciting news that's coming up for the latter part of the season, a show finale that you don't want to miss. So we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back with Joey Chapman right here on an Inside Edition of Voice of Victory Lane podcast with Kip Thompson. Let's take a break and hear from our sponsor. Tonight's show is being sponsored by Raging Rooster Catering out of Fayetteville, North Carolina. We cater any event, big or small, weddings, holiday events, and festivals. Call us today, 910-237-4565. Follow us on Facebook at Raging Rooster Catering. We invite you to come get you some. Okay, race fans, welcome back into the second half of another edition of Inside Voice of Victory Lane podcast with Kip Thompson. Our show guest tonight, Joey Chapman, series director of the Carolina Clash Super Late Model Dirt Series, longtime friend of mine, and enjoy always having him on the show to promote their series. And tonight, as we've already done, come back and do a small recap of what went on this past weekend in Sumter, South Carolina. Joey, you and I had a phone conversation yesterday. You were super excited. It was almost if I could maybe sit you down just a minute. You were so excited on the phone, man. I just can't wait to be on the show tomorrow night, man. I got some big news for you. So go ahead.
Well, we did announce at the drivers' meeting, and we put out a small press release today. But our final two races, November the 19th and 20th, both of them will be at Cherokee Motor Speedway. There will be two separate races. We're going to run a 50-lap, 7,500 to win on Saturday night, and a 50-lap, 10,000 to win on Saturday night to finish out our season. And a big shout-out goes to the Duval family. It's going to be part of the Mike Duval Memorial and the Blue Gray and Tony Adair for putting all of this together. So it's going to be a big weekend. Great opportunity to come out and watch some excellent racing. A lot of money up for grabs. Like I said, it's going to be 7,500 to win, 500 to start on Saturday, 10,000 to win, 600 to start on Sunday.
Okay, so that will be a Saturday night race and a Sunday race. So when Joey was talking, he's so excited. He said it was 7,500 on Saturday and then 5,000. But he did come back because I was fixing to call him out. But sometimes and our thoughts run together. But $7,500 to win on Saturday inside the racetrack your mama warned you about, the Cherokee Motors in Gaffney, South Carolina. And it's a doubleheader deal back to back. It's going to go Sunday as well for another 5,000.
No, 10,000.
Excuse me, 10,000. See, I got it wrong. So 10,000.
That's right.
And 10. So it's going to be a great weekend. You need to mark your calendars now for that. That is November the 19th and the 20th in Gaffney, South Carolina at the Cherokee Motor Speedway. Joey, you should have some heavy hitters in the house for that weekend, buddy.
Yes, sir. I believe so. There's a lot of local guys there. Chris Madden, Chris Ferguson. You'll probably get Brandon Overton. You never know who's going to show up. But with $17,000 up for grabs those 2 days, it'll get some attention. So it'll be a great time for the fans to come out and watch some really, really good racing. And the Blue Gray at Cherokee has a long history. And obviously with the Duval family, the name in Duval is synonymous with Cherokee Motor Speedway. His shop was right down the road there, spent many years at that place, so it's just going to be a great opportunity that weekend to see some good racing and build some memories for years to come.
And I'll guarantee you, as you walk through the Cherokee Speedway that weekend, you'll probably see more than one Flintstone Flyer T-shirt.
Yes.
The Flintstone Flyer, a big, huge name in that area. I remember how the family honored him, and when he passed away, they took him one final lap around the track after his, and it was just a super way to remember someone who, dirt racing was his life. And it was just an awesome deal to see that video. And when you start talking about a big race like this, you touched on it a while ago in talking about being at Sumter. You've got some guys who run there local. Hey, the big boys are coming. Well, hey, you still got to have your A game on. There's some guys who run locally right there around Cherokee that there could be a surprise. Was it John Price who showed up the time you guys were there? And
yes, sir.
What a lot of people don't understand sometimes, racing, as you know, Joey, because you've been in the industry for a long time, still a part of it now. I think that what you see, people don't understand. A long time ago, you had several different drivers who had the best of the best equipment due to money and this and that. Now, a lot of times what I see, and I'll let you explain, maybe tell me if I'm wrong with this, but this is kind of what I see, is everybody's got pretty much the same equipment now. The only advantage is when you have a Chris Madden and a Brandon Overton and the big names that you just called, they just get an opportunity to drive more than some of these local guys. And these guys are coming into their home racetrack or somewhere local for them with some heavy big names coming in that they're bringing their A game too, because they want to show that they can run with them.
Oh yeah. All of these guys, man, they buy first class equipment. They buy everything they need. You take the top 10 in any series in the country and they're all on relatively even equipment, so it comes down to preparation and hard work. And you still have to do those fundamentals in life. And, the guys that succeed usually work harder and a little more dedicated and put a little more time and effort into it. And that separates them sometimes on the racetrack. There's always luck and other things involved in the situation, but you still have to work extremely hard to work on your race car. And it's not a point now where you can go out and buy a part and that makes you a tenth quicker, because everybody else has got those parts too when they become available. So you've got to tune on your stuff and really get it to suit you so you can be fast in your own equipment.
Absolutely. Well, it all works out. I know that season finale for you guys is going to be a show that fans, hey, you don't want to miss it. If you're available and can get there, go. If you have never been to the Cherokee Speedway, this is a good reason for you to find a way to get there that weekend. I hear a lot of people always say, man, one place I want to go to, I want to go to Gaffney. I want to go to Cherokee Speedway. Well, I can tell you, if you've never been, you need to. It is for a reason. There's a reason why they call it the racetrack your mama warned you about. It's very racy, crazy fast, and it will be a show that you do not want to miss. So as we look forward to the season finale, what do things look like as of right now as for when you see 2023 kicking off for the Clash?
Probably early April, late March, early April. If things go according to plan, we will open up at Lancashire Motor Speedway like we typically do. We already have our banquet for this year scheduled for December the 3rd. We want to kind of get everything wrapped up before Christmas. Not that we're trying to rush anything, but it works really, really well. The racing season's over. Let's get everything wrapped up, get everybody paid so everybody can go and relax and enjoy the holidays. And I probably have 80% of my schedule completed already for next year. Got a lot of new things coming next year. Working on a couple new racetracks. So there'll definitely be some news coming out as we move forward. And so we're really looking forward. Just one of the things that I know it seems a long way off. You mentioned 2023, but 2024 will be the 25th anniversary of the Carolina Clash. So we're even working on some things that far down the road. So keep your eyes and ears open, and you'll see it here on Voice of Victory Lane podcast, I'm sure. But keep your eyes and ears open because you'll see things coming.
But Joey, that's such a compliment to that series to know that you just made a comment that 2024 will be 25 years of the Clash. But before that, you're talking about trying to finish up your schedule for 2023 with new race. So what that's saying, hey, we want this series at our track. We want to bring this crowd to our track. And it's because of the legacy that you guys have done, you've built and a good series because, it's always a great show. It is a good following, good quality race cars that race with you guys. And that's what the fans want. And what the fans want is what drives the tracks to get you guys there. So I'm looking forward to whenever you release things to find out places that you guys haven't ever been before. Hopefully it may be a racetrack I've never been to before, and maybe to be a first for both of us.
Yes, sir. I had a conversation with a track promoter this week, and one of the things that made him call us was the racing and the car counts and the fans and what he's heard from County Line and Fayetteville Motor Speedway. That made him reach out to the Clash and say, man, I'm really interested in getting y'all coming up here. So we're having conversations with him for next year. And so things are really looking good for us. We appreciate everybody that helps us do what we do and all the promoters who invite us into their house and give us the opportunity to do what we do.
Well, as always, it's a true delight to have you on the show and for me to be able to help you promote what you're doing with the Carolina Clash, the whole organization, from Marion to Mark Huey, yourself. Just a great group of guys that love racing, just like all of us. And the Carolina Clash does always put on a great show, especially Joey just mentioned that people hear by word of mouth from County Line and at Fayetteville Motor Speedway. And I can speak on behalf of Fayetteville Motor Speedway. We love it when the Clash comes to town. And just to give you guys a little preview of what's still to come this week and what's coming up at Fayetteville Motor Speedway, just as a reminder, this weekend in Elm City, North Carolina at the County Line Raceway, it's the annual Race for the Kids. Going to be a huge event, always draws a really big crowd. And tomorrow we are going to have a show with track promoter Miss Brenda Holcomb. We're excited about having her as a first-time guest on the show. We're going to be talking about that race. The following weekend at Fayetteville Motor Speedway, it is the Cash Money 100. The Steel Block Bandits will be back inside the Carolina Bull Ring. And it's going to be a phenomenal show. It's going to be a really, really big show for the Fayetteville Motor Speedway. And then we gear up for November, the first weekend, second weekend in November. We have the INEX Legends Nationals inside the Fayetteville Motor Speedway. And then we will wrap up our season at the Fayetteville Motor Speedway the weekend of Thanksgiving. On that Saturday, it's the Food Coma Comeback 3, which is a race that has really surprised me and how the race has gone down. The first year we did this, I was like, man, everybody has, put the race cars up. Everybody's burnt out. They're tired of racing. We had over 100 cars the first year. Last year, I didn't think, man, there's no way we'll repeat get that many cars again. Well, we had more cars for the second Food Coma comeback, and we're hoping to see that again this year. So a lot of things going on around local racetracks, wherever you may be, wherever you're watching from. On the weekends, get out and support these local racetracks. We don't need to keep hearing news articles and things come out that tracks are closing down. These folks that are open, hey, they're doing it for you because your fans and drivers go support these local racetracks. So that's going to wrap up our show tonight. For Joey Chapman, I'm Kip Thompson, the Voice of Victory Lane podcast. Be sure to go to YouTube and like, share, and subscribe our page. Go to Facebook, Voice of Victory Lane podcast. We've got our own page there. Be sure to like and share there as well. And as always, we want to thank our show sponsors, Raging Rooster Catering out of Fayetteville, North Carolina. Tony and Bobby Jackson, those guys will feed 30 people or more. They've got a great menu. And also remember, it was announced last week, I had Bobby Jackson on a show, a new thing doing at the Fayetteville Motor Speedway. And keep this in mind as we go to these big events. It's a 2-day event, October the 21st and the 22nd, when the Cash Money 100 comes to town. Also, it's a 3-day event when the INEX Nationals come to town. You will find out a way, and you can look on their Facebook page. They have instructions, and they're going to be sending out some flyers and stuff, made to order food for you. You can text or call Bobby Jackson. They'll deliver it from the food truck right to your pits. Everybody gets busy. People don't have a lot of time to eat. Bobby Jackson's going to make sure you don't go hungry when you're inside the Fayetteville Motor Speedway. So be sure to check those guys out, and you will not be disappointed. So huge thank you to our show sponsor, Raging Rooster Catering out of Fayetteville, North Carolina. Be on the lookout. As always, I could be coming to a racetrack near you, and we could be talking about you on our next show. Be on the lookout also for tomorrow night's show with Miss Brenda Holcomb. And if you're in the area, you're around Elm City, North Carolina, and you want to see a great race, Steel Block Bandits are going to be on the track at the County Line Raceway, Elm City, North Carolina. It's a cool little place. If you've never been there, come check it out. And who knows, I'll be walking around the pits. Maybe I can meet some of the guys who watch and follow our show. Thanks to everyone for watching. Hope everyone has a wonderful rest of the week. Be safe, and thanks for watching. We will see you guys soon.